This video was brought to you by Ground News. The left wing in France has a long and rich history. In fact, the very terms left and right in the political sense were actually coined during the French Revolution. But history aside, these days, the vast majority of outside commentary on French politics is focused on the centre and the right, largely through the prism of President Emmanuel Macron and the National Rally leader Marine Le Pen. So in this video, we're going to take a look at what happened to the French left, its current state, and its future prospects. Now, there are plenty of moments in history where we could start this video. The 1789 revolution that overthrew the monarchy and ushered in the First French Republic, the short-lived 1871 Paris Commune, the immediate post-Second World War period where the Communist Party were one of the strongest forces in the country, and many others. But for the sake of time, we're going to keep things more modern. We're going to stick to the Fifth Republic, founded in 1958. And for most of the Fifth Republic, the predominant political force on the left was the Socialist Party. The 1981 election saw leader François Mitterrand elected president, making him the first socialist president of the Fifth Republic. He then served 2 consecutive 7-year terms as president, initially pursuing a series of significant left-wing economic reforms and policies, before soon changing course with what was called the austerity turn, amid economic problems and pressure on the currency. After his 2 terms were up, though, the socialists wouldn't return to the presidency until 2012, when François Hollande was elected president. But it was Hollande's presidency from 2012 to 2017 that precipitated the end of the Socialist Party's position as the predominant party representing the left of centre. Having faced personal scandal, dogged by high unemployment, unpopular changes in government direction, and more, his deep unpopularity prompted him to announce that he would not be seeking re-election. At the subsequent election in 2017, won by Emmanuel Macron at the helm of his new party, the socialist candidate won a mere 6% of the vote, placing 5th. This was a major fall from grace for the Socialist Party, and the party fell even further following the 2022 election, when its candidate, Anne Hidalgo, won just 1.75% of the vote. These elections saw a major reorientation, with the once mighty centre-left Socialist Party replaced as the left's predominant political force by a populist party further to the left, Jean-Luc Mélenchon's France Unbowed. In 2017, Mélenchon received just under 20% of the vote, and at the 2022 election, he won just shy of 22% of the vote, which was 1.2 percentage points short of beating Marine Le Pen to qualify for the runoff. For many on the left, this was a lesson that left-wing unity was essential to having any chance at victory, as just a fraction of the votes from the various other left-of-centre candidates would have sent Mélenchon through to the second round. So following that 2022 presidential election, with just months until the subsequent legislative elections, Mélenchon formed the New Ecological and Social People's Union, or NUPES, an alliance of parties from the left. The alliance brought together Mélenchon's own France Unbowed, the Socialist Party, the Communist Party, and the Greens, and it actually managed to become the largest opposition bloc in the National Assembly, with France Unbowed at its head. And this helped to deny President Macron's alliance a parliamentary majority. However, this result did not usher in a new era of left-wing unity, as it didn't take long for divisions between the various parties and personalities to emerge once again. For starters, Mélenchon's call for the parties to sit as a unified parliamentary group was rejected by the 3 smaller alliance members who preferred to sit as their individual parties under the NUPES umbrella. Over the coming months and year, disunity between these parties would continue to grow. Mélenchon's handling of a domestic abuse scandal by a senior figure in his party sparked condemnation and anger from the other parties. And there was also disagreement over how the parties would best oppose Macron's government, including in relation to the unpopular pension reforms. The parties have also been divided over Ukraine, with Mélenchon's more Russia-friendly position putting him at odds with his pro-Ukrainian counterparts. But it was the October 7th attacks by Hamas and the ensuing war in Gaza that, perhaps more than anything, has left the NUPES alliance effectively defunct. The refusal of Mélenchon and his party to describe Hamas's actions as terrorism prompted the Socialist Party to vote to suspend its participation in nukes, while the Communist Party concluded that the alliance was at an impasse and called for a new type of union for the left. Months later, the situation hasn't changed a great deal, and the left is still divided, with each party running separately in the upcoming European parliamentary elections in June. So where does that leave the French left going forward? While the current iteration might look in disarray now, it's certainly not dead. The 2022 presidential election was confirmation that the French politics is no longer a question of two dominant parties, but has instead been stratified into three main blocks: the left, the centre, and the right. The real challenge for the left, then, is finding someone and a common platform to unite around, not just before an election, but in a way that can survive after an election too. Looking ahead to the 2027 presidential election, which will be an open field without an incumbent president running, Mélenchon has so far been ambiguous, on one hand confirming that his candidacy is a possibility, and on the other saying that he wishes to be replaced. Given the current animosity between Mélenchon and the other left-of-centre parties, if he does run in 2027, it's hard to imagine him being the candidate of a united left. Others from Mélenchon's party, though, for example the less contentious François Ruffin, might have a broader appeal to the other parties on the left. Alternatively, there is a world in which the socialists rebound to become the top party on the left again. For example, polling for the European parliamentary elections showed the socialists back ahead of the other left-of-centre parties, with the polling numbers between 10 and 13%. Now, you certainly shouldn't extrapolate from European elections, but this polling does show that France Unbound's position as the predominant left-wing party is by no means guaranteed. And this question of leadership is not solely for the left wing either. The race among Macron's allies to be his successor is already underway behind the scenes. And even in the case of the National Rally, Marine Le Pen might seem like the obvious choice for 2027, but the party's young and popular president might think that he has a better shot at winning. Macron is still making big moves though, with him meeting Xi Jinping to discuss trade and Ukraine, something that was covered extensively by more than 61 news outlets across the political spectrum. And of this, 39% is coming from the left and 29% is coming from the right. And these insights are all possible thanks to our sponsor, Ground News, a website and app developed by a former NASA engineer on a mission to give readers an easy, data-driven, objective way to read the news. As such, every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of the political bias, factuality, and ownership of the source's reporting, all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations. For example, on that story about Xi and Macron, not only are you able to compare the political bias and headlines, but you can even check out the factuality information and the ownership. At this point, our viewers are well aware of our appreciation of Ground News. It's an incredibly useful platform that captures information that you can't get anywhere else. And best of all, they're currently offering 40% off their Vantage plan, which comes with unlimited access to all of their features. So go to ground.news/TLDR or click the link down below to sign up for only $5 a month and help an independent news platform working to make the media landscape more transparent.